Welcome back to Couples Chronicles. This is your boy Lloyd.
And Afiya.
So we're married, but we don't always agree with every topic that we discuss.
Mostly not.
But we have chosen to build a life full of love, laughter, and respect. So grab a seat, listen closely as we tackle our first chronicle. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, what we got today? Why do women like bad boys? Oh, let me change that. Why do women love bad boys?
I think it has something to do with feeling safe.
Safe.
Yeah.
So a bad boy makes you feel safe.
I don't know. When I think of a bad boy, I think of a guy with a little bit of an edge. You know, like somebody that makes me feel safe, a little strong, right? Like can stand up to anybody. I don't know. That's what I think of when I think of a bad boy.
So protection is,
Yeah.
your mate. Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like a quote unquote good boy can't protect you, can't keep you safe?
I mean, I guess in theory he could, right? But I think when I think of a bad boy, what that looks like, what that feels like, it just feels like this like really strong, domineering, man that's willing to, fight for my well-being. And,
So for the listeners and the watchers,
What
am I?
I know, right? I know, because he's asking this because he knows I love a bad boy.
What am I?
He knows if I had a thug, I would be popping so much shit. I would.
I'm definitely not a thug, but whatever that means for you. Right?
He knows if I had somebody that was like, you're good in between. You're not you're not too far good, not too far bad. You got enough edge. Like I've had to like edging you up a lot more than from when I met you. Like when I met you, you were like super chill, and I was like, I'm too Brooklyn and you too Miami. Like we gotta meet in the middle somewhere.
Well, not even Miami, right? So I'm from St. Thomas. If you didn't know, I'm from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So I'm an island boy. So we're chill. We're on island time.
Yeah.
I don't believe that being strong or necessarily means that you have to be boisterous. It's a confidence that you have.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be bad. But I have a different, not different. You want to know what happened? That men learn this, that women don't like good guys at an early age. I sometimes tell my young, I'm 39, but if I talk to somebody that's dating 17, 25, like for instance, one of our friends have a 20-year-old son. And I told him the other day, like, I can't wait till somebody break your heart, because that's when you're going to really learn who women are. Not that you guys are bad. What I'm saying is I was that guy in high school, for all my people that know me from high school, that would bring flowers and bring balloons to school for my girlfriend. I was the good guy, right? And I remember one of my exes broke up with me because she said I was too nice. She said we didn't argue. And she was older. I always dated older. Like I was a sophomore. I think she was a senior.
Well, you don't like to argue. That's also a part of your personality.
I don't think you have to argue to get through a disagreement.
Yeah. But some women like to argue just for the makeup sex.
Fine. But I'm glad I just heard that. The makeup sex. Okay, I get it. I could definitely see you doing something like that. But most men learn this at a young age. So I learned this in high school.
Yeah.
Like being too good, you get labeled as corny. You get labeled as,
And I think when you think of somebody that's corny, you don't necessarily think that he's going to run, to your safety and run to protect you. But sometimes the quiet ones are the people that you underestimate the most, right?
I agree with you. A lot of people talk.
I think it really just depends on like
quiet dog bites hardest.
Right. But I also just think sometimes it really just depends on your upbringing and what you look at and deem as like this strong, masculine, figure. And I think a lot of that has to do with like upbringing or even like societal norms, right? Because I think for me, what I grew up seeing as this idea of over masculine, it doesn't align with like this like good guy, right? It does align with somebody that's like an alpha type of male. And I think because of that, like this idea of like bad boys, this idea of like a protector, this idea of somebody that, is going to come to my rescue, like that got me. And sometimes that's even in presence, right? Because I'm tall. And so sometimes it's like when I see like a large man, I would think, oh, he's gonna make me feel safe. And that whether that be in the street, whether that be like, when you're large, you think,
You're large.
Like a large person. You know, my dad is 6'7", right? Like my brother is 6'6". Like, you know, so sometimes it's just like a large male. Just the presence alone can be intimidating. And you would think...
I barely made it. I barely made the cut. I'm like an inch and a half taller than her, but it's all good.
But what I'm saying is, right? And then sometimes, like, you know, some guys, you know, they're just the way they might be vocal, right? And they make up for not being like super tall, but their presence is strong, you know, or what they say is strong. And I think for me, that's why it's so important. It is. We've had this conversation in terms of, you know, you making me feel safe or making me feel like you got my back. And that's rooted in me, especially in what I look for in a man. Like, I want to feel like you got me. I don't want to feel like a guy in the street can try you or that they can try me. I want to feel like you're going to say something to somebody in the street before I even have to. I shouldn't have to defend myself to another man.
No, I agree with that. But I agree with the protection and feeling safe.
Yeah.
But I think when we say the term bad boys, it's less about that part and more about like the douchebag, the asshole.
Oh.
Like when they be like, why do the girls choose the jerks?
I don't think, but to be honest,
They-
I think that to be, and in my opinion, that might be an immaturity thing. I'm going to be completely honest because I think as you get older, in my opinion, I do think as you get older, you really just want a good guy, a nice guy. Like, I think maybe when you were younger, sometimes for the girls that are into toxic relationships, toxic men, sure, a bad boy was attractive. But I think when you get older and you want somebody that's going to marry you, be a great father, be a great husband, somebody that's going to pay the bills and not make you feel small, you want a good guy.
So that's where the problem lies for me. Because let's say I'm a good guy all my life, trying to treat women well, or, I mean, everyone should treat women well, right? But like, I'm doing extra, I'm doing the most. And all through my young age, I'm getting dissed and played. But now, when I reach my maturity, now you, the woman, now feel like, oh, it's time to settle down. Let me go to the nice guy.
Absolutely.
And by then we fed up. Now, by then, the nice guy ain't so nice no more.
Right. I mean,
we figured out how to play the game.
I think it depends on, you know, the woman. It might, you know, like I said, it really boils down to like age and maturity for a lot of factors. Like I said, I think when you're young, maybe, right? Like, but I do think for me, for most women, you want a guy that is like, I done been through enough assholes. I have. Like, I've been through enough.
Now you tired.
Like, now you tired.
Grab him from when he young.
Yes,
grab him from when he young.
I done had enough of those.
I remember I saw a podcast. Or it probably was a podcast. I think it was, I can't, let me don't even quote where it was at, but I saw it, and you guys might have heard this. It was a young lady on there saying that she would rather date a drug dealer than somebody that had a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know if you guys heard it. I know you guys, I heard it. She said she would rather have a drug dealing boyfriend than a person who have a 9-to-5. Even if the 9-to-5 guy made more money than the drug dealer.
I think that's her. No, seriously, I think that's her.
That's a little over the top.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, I have some friends now that, like, you know, they love them a scammer, love them a drug dealer. And like you said, like, for them, like, that might have to do with upbringing, like who they saw growing up, like what they like, what they're attracted to. They might like somebody a little bit on the edge. Like, you know, I'll wait for you when you get out, but don't go to jail for too long. Like,
I just think it's superficial. Like, usually, you know, let's draw it back. You said like when you're younger. Let's go to high school.
Yeah.
The guy that had the best shoes, the fancy car, the jewelry.
I mean, well, no, I'm from New York. Nobody had cars in high school, but I get you.
It might have been an older guy, what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
The drug dealer of the scammer of the hood.
Yeah.
So that's what they see they're attracted to because they had the things that they want.
Yeah.
And your good guy, quote unquote, who's more conservative, might not have been so flashy, so they consider him corny. So they don't want that. So those guys, I think, and then now you're talking about culturally, rappers, they want this type, they rap about, they want this type, and it's attractive to them.
It is attractive.
Until you get ran through by enough of those,
and
then you want the nice guy.
Yes. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not. But I do think...
How do we change that?
It's nice, you know, being with somebody that has edge. I'm not going to lie, because I do think transparently, like, we got engaged very young.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got engaged very young.
Yes, I got engaged very young. And I've calmed down a lot. like I would be lying if I said I didn't like a bad boy. Like, you know, like I think I can appreciate a good guy now, right? But we're almost a decade in here, right? But I would be lying if I said like, you know, that edge. I love an edge. And don't have that edge towards me. Have that edge towards somebody else. I don't want that like towards me, but have it towards, I don't like men that, you know, are
hard with the
like,
women, but
right, so macho towards me, but like to a guy in the street, you don't have that energy. Like, keep that energy. Carry that energy towards them. I don't need that towards me. I need that for Joe Schmo in the street that, you know, like thinks he could have too much talk, too much pep in his step, whatever. But like I said, I would be lying if I said I wasn't into that, because I was. I do like I remember you met my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin was like 6'6", huge, like foot linebacker. And when you first met him, you were like, who's this 6'6" massive guy?
Hugging my wife.
Love it. And he loved me. My cousin loved me. And he made me feel so safe, so protected. You know, but he's not here no more. Rest in peace. He's not here no more. He was 2 Street.
He was
a bad boy, right? And so now that I'm a wife and a mom, right? I'm like, no, like I want somebody like my dad. Like,
I'm like her dad. That's crazy.
Not like that.
I know.
But I want like I don't want you that street. Like, you know, like I want somebody that's gonna have my back, but I want you to come home at night. And so I think that's where the maturity in having a bad boy kind of shifts from, you know, my younger days till now. Like, I want somebody that, you know, is coming home, and I don't have to worry if you got shot on the way home. If you go, you know, when you don't answer the phone too much, I'd be like, you alive? Ask him. I do. I'd be like, you alive? Because it's a real thing. If he don't come home at a certain hour, I'd be like, you okay? Like, you alive? Because this is a scary world. One of my uncles got in a car accident, never came home. You know, so like that worry, like this is life, you never know. So I don't want to have to deal with that. And you too bad, you too in the street. Like, no, like come home.
All right, so for my good guys out there, you know, we still winning. It might take you a little while, but we still.
And women love women love the good guys are not losing. I'm sorry. They're not. They end up with a great wife, a woman that is willing to be submissive towards them because they appreciate the amazing things that they do and what they bring to the home. I do think that there's a key balance between being a good guy and a bad
mix.
guy.
So
that
hear
has
from the
to
lady's
be,
mouth. Have a mix.
Yeah, it has to be a mix. Like,
don't be a simp.
No, don't be a pushover. Like, don't be a pushover. Like, you know, have some bass in that chest. Like, you know.
All right, that was a good first round.
Oh.
We got the second chronicle.
All right,
what you got
see.
for me? Spicy.
How do you tell your partner that you're not pleased with them sexually?
Ooh.
I don't think you can. I don't think there's no easy way to have that conversation. You just got to dive right into it.
So first, let me say I've never been in that situation. I've had a bad experience. I won't even call it bad. I call it a boring experience. I won't call it a bad experience. I think women experience more bad experiences than men do. Because for men, a lot of it is mostly about the end, the orgasm.
Right.
For women, it's about everything in between and then the orgasm. But y'all find more connectivity with for us, it's a race to the end. For women, I think it's a marathon to the end. Mm. For men, it's like, okay, we want to, because the feeling, you know, I think, again, that's just correct me if I'm wrong. How would I do this? I don't think it's no way to do this without making somebody, I don't want to say feel bad, but make them feel insecure or make them feel, I don't want to say small, but it's going to hurt. It's going to be a gut shot.
Yeah,
for sure. I think from the male and from the female. I think the female might be a little bit more aggressive towards, I think the man will shut down and like, oh snap, oh shit, I'm not doing my job. Yeah. A woman gonna be like, what you talking about? I got that bomb. I got that wop. I got that wop. What you talking about? But I think this is a very tough but needed conversation.
Yeah.
In couples. So I think you need to be upfront. I think you need to be boisterous. You need to over communicate your needs. I think you just have to rip off the Band-Aid and it is what it is. But I do think you need to figure this out early on in the relationship. Yeah. Because you're going to be the one being hurt.
Yeah, wait 10 years. I don't think there's no soft way, no subtle way.
How would you say it? How let's reenact it. How would you say it? It's real. Let's be real. Like, how would you say, baby, you know. How would you say? I don't know.
Maybe it's not telling them that they don't do something correct, as well as, encouraging them in ways that you do like. Maybe it's that approach, right?
That is
Instead
the
of
key.
saying, hey, I don't like the way you hit it from the back. I really love when we do missionary, or I really love when you give me head, or I really love donkey style, right?
Gotcha.
So, and I think that's a great way to not make them feel small,
Gotcha.
but also encourage
Empower
them. Yeah, to empower them and encourage them to do more of what you do like. So that when you guys are being intimate and having sex, and like, oh, she like it when I hit it from the back.
Now
You know
now
what I
you're
mean?
getting
Like,
pleased.
and now you're getting pleased instead of like tearing them down.
So that's gonna be my second point. You got to treat this almost like kids. We have a son,
Yeah.
and psychologists would say, or child experts would say, when you want a kid not to do a thing, don't say don't do a thing. Tell them what to do. So instead of saying don't jump on the couch, Cairo, can you sit down? Like, don't say don't. Don't
Yeah.
put the negative connotation behind it or force behind it. So I think you got to treat this like kids,
that.
because it's a very
It's touchy.
sensitive thing.
It's sensitive.
Yeah, so you got to
It
treat
is.
it as that. So maybe like, rather than saying, baby, I don't like when you on top. Let's say you're boring on top. And I don't like that. I don't say, be like, oh, baby, when you be throwing it from the back, ooh, I be getting.
Yeah, you
like
see?
you said, and then you like, oh, he like this. And let me just throw it. You know what I'm saying? I think, nah, but this is a real thing. Like, we try to find topics that really, really matter, even though it might be kind of sensitive.
Yeah.
But what's the second? Is it the second or the first? It's the first leading for breakup and divorce. Is money and sex, or sex and money? How it goes?
It's probably money and sex.
Money. I mean, I know it's 1 and 2. I forgot which one
I would
comes
say
first.
the number one reason is money.
Money. I
Yeah,
think so. I think
absolutely.
you might be right.
Yeah.
But then number 2 comes closely behind at sex.
Yeah.
So we need to figure this out, I think, early on for it to last, because I know people cheat regardless, but then it could lead to infidelity because you're not being pleased. It could
Yeah.
lead to frustration because you're not being pleased. And then you have the men watching porn. You have the woman hooked on toys. Not saying toys isn't a great tool for sex, but it should be a tool.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the end all be all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Like you said, it's such a
have you had a
sensitive-
friend that
Oh, yeah.
and what did they say?
One of
Without
my
naming names.
cousins, without naming names.
Without naming names, please. I'm making any
No,
references.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. That's what you have me thinking about. Because one of my cousins told me, like, her husband just didn't please her sexually. And it really did lead to her cheating. It led to her, like, eventually it ended in divorce. It just didn't work. But I think that goes back to not having sex before you get married, right? Like,
Trying it.
Yes.
Driving the car before
like,
you buy
girl, you knew that dick was bad before you said I do. Let's not do that. Let's not do
it.
that.
I actually, and I love when this stuff come up like this. What do you consider bad sex? Like,
Well,
what would you consider bad sex?
It depends now, right? Because now that I'm in my girl woman era,
Okay.
right? Like, I'm a little seasoned. I think it depends, right? Because I think when you have sex when you're young, you don't even know. It sounds funny, right? But like, you don't even know that you're supposed to orgasm when you're having sex. Like, I think you know that the man eventually nuts, but you don't even know that you're supposed to orgasm too when you're having sex. So
Okay.
I think a part of it is that, like, I didn't, like, once you understand
sexual maturity?
Yes, like the sexual maturity and understanding, like, we're supposed to orgasm too, right? So that's a part of it.
Okay.
I think
What would it take for you to be like, ugh?
it was terrible.
Yeah. Have you had that experience, first of all?
It depends. I think for me, I think for me to say it was terrible, he has to have a small penis.
Size does really matter.
It
Okay.
would. I think, because I don't think outside of that, like,
Stuff you could teach. You could.
yeah, you could show, like, it can't be that terrible. I mean, if he got a good size, like, it'd be like, all right, come on. Like, it can't be that terrible. But I think if he has a small penis, there's nothing you can do. Like, in my opinion, like, it's just like, go get rich or something. Like, I don't.
Money could change that.
Yeah.
Money could change that.
Yeah, maybe money can change. Maybe they have penile enlargements. I don't know, but
They do, but
they
I
do.
don't
Like,
know
I
what
just,
it means.
I think if he has a small penis, that's, for me, I think that's the main reason.
It'll be bad for you.
I think great sex, like amazing sex,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of different factors. I think for women, like you said, sex is more than
Emotion is more than physical.
it's more than
Emotional.
it's
Emotional driven.
emotional. It's like having a connection with the person, and it could be like for me. Right now, he knows I'm a big I want to do whatever I've seen in the movies. So like,
This
if
is facts.
and like,
I'm like,
yeah.
baby, we did that there already. We did that already. No, but I want to hear. I'm like, it's the same position. What are you talking about?
It's not. Like, she had sex in the doorway. Like, they
And
had
this is
sex.
recent. This is the
Yes,
recent
like
one.
they
This is
had
the
sex
recent-
on that wall. I want to have sex on that wall in that position. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But what was I saying?
Bad sex, great sex. You think great sex?
Yes.
The difference between men and women.
I think for women, great sex, it could start with how you treat her, right? It could be the intimacy, like hugging behind her in the kitchen, filling out her booty, like rubbing her waistline, like it's more of an intimate connection, I think, than just the physical connection. I think like, loving on her where she can kind of, almost imagine the sex before the sex has even started, like, oh, I just love how he's been loving on me lately. Like, like that's a turn on so that by the time like you actually get to intercourse, like the foreplay, it's like the foreplay that leads up to sex matters. And I think
the emotional heightens the
Yes.
experience, and that's what makes it great.
Yes. And I think for men, it's just, sometimes it could just mean just getting a nut off. But I think for women, what makes great sex, like, I think that essentially is what can make her orgasm without toys, right? Like, she's already there mentally, like, and you're like, dang, why is she so wet? Like, like she already been thinking about this. You already did a lot of things that turned her on before she even got to the bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I haven't experienced it. I don't think, like, I agree with you as far as, like, what it would take for it to be terrible sex. I can't think of anything
like
that
terrible.
would be like, what are you, like, unless you, like, threw up on me or some crazy
Threw
ass,
up?
I don't know, you gagged and had a reflux, and I don't know, it had to be something crazy for it to be like, oh, this was bad.
But for it to be bad sex, I can see her crying. I think if a woman starts crying, either partner. I think if either partner starts crying in the middle of sex, that's bad sex.
I think for men, if they had to, and I'm not talking for all men, but if I had to gather all my years of information, locker room talk, if we talk, I think what will make bad sex for a guy is, like, if she don't have no walls, if she loose. And they can't feel anything. I think that's probably the most common complaint, if I had to. Cause
I've never even heard that. That's how you know I'm not in the
locker room. But, like, as far as things to do, like, a woman might not be as open to certain things or as aggressive to certain things. But I think if, like, the guy, I couldn't feel anything. I think that's like the
wild.
biggest. Yeah, that's like the biggest.
Yeah, and I've
complaint.
never even heard that before. Like, even from my guy friends, like, I've never heard them like talk about that.
I've heard that plenty of times. She had no walls. She loose.
Oh wow.
Couldn't feel nothing. Couldn't grab. Couldn't nothing. So.
Man, I wonder if there's some type of surgery for that.
They are. I think it's like vagiplasty or something.
Oh yeah, she needs to get that. ASAP.
And your Kegel exercises and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. All right, that's enough about sex before her mom say something. My mom is fine. We talked about sex since 3. I'm just playing. Sex was a very open thing in our household. But chronicle number 3, I think she gonna like this one. Do dating apps / and we'll continue the shows really work? Again, I repeat, do dating apps or the dating shows that we now see, that's a trend, very trendy, do they really work? Or do they end in love, result in love?
It depends, right? I think they work. I think that dating apps, first and foremost, I think it's a modern day...
Modern day what?
I think it's how people meet nowadays, right?
The apps.
The apps.
Okay.
I think it's a modern day means of how people meet. And I think I say that because, like, back in the day, you would meet at the club. Now you might not. You might meet at lounges. Now you might not. Now people meet on, like, Tinder, Hinge, Coffee Meets Bagel. Even a lot of people meet on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. I even applaud those people that sign up for, dating services specifically where they match you with somebody, right? Because I feel like they're taking the initiative towards meeting somebody that meets most of the things on their list towards, I think it's key, in my opinion. Like, I think they do end in result. I met some people that was like, oh, yeah, I met on, what's that site?
I don't know.
Black people meet.
Okay.
Like, I've met people. Like, I've met people.
And are they together? Are they in love? They're married?
They're married. Yeah. Okay. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a modern way of how people meet in today's society. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I know so many of my friends that's on Hinge. I know people that have got married. My cousin John, they met on Hinge. They're married with the baby.
We don't say names.
Okay, but nice, they met on Hinge. Like, my family. I just really think it's how people meet nowadays. I don't think anything's wrong with it.
So I'm actually shocked. I just looked this up. This is why I was typing here. What's the percentage of, couples that end up working out? That's dating shows. So the reality, not reality shows, the app says nearly 70 of individuals who meet on a dating app said it led to a romantic, exclusive relationship, while 28% said it did not. Oh. I'm actually shocked
there you go.
That it's that high.
70%? That's amazing. That means they work. I think it's just...
I'm actually shocked.
You know what it is? It's about intentionality, in my opinion, right? Like, when you're on the app, you can see the people. It's either you like how they look, you don't like how they look, you click on their profile, and from their profile, you can tell a lot about them. And then maybe it leads to conversation. If the conversation is not dry, and you guys are kind of going back and forth, maybe it leads to a date.
So that's my what you just said is my problem with dating apps, because you see again, it's not like the real world, because I saw you, I thought you looked good, that's how we meet, right? That's everywhere. So I guess it's the same thing on the app. Oh, this girl is whatever, but the part that I have a problem with is, like, you go through their profile. It's like Instagram. It's a highlight reel.
It's the same thing, yeah.
It's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
So they're going to say, I love long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm a successful real estate agent. I this. They're going to highlight all these great things before I actually see who you are, to try to get me in. That's what it's for, right?
I feel like we've had this conversation before, because I feel like if we're dating, yes, I want to know the highlights about situation. You. Like, I want to know the good. I don't want to know the bad. I don't want to look at your profile and say, oh, when I get mad, I shut down. Oh, when I get upset, I get super angry and I'm emotionally immature. Nobody's gonna say that on their profile. And if you did, I'm probably gonna run. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I want to go on a date with him. He just listed 10 things that's wrong with him. It's unrealistic. And to be honest, if I was on the app,
I'm not saying listed, but what I'm saying is, for me, again, obviously I was wrong, because the percentage is working. But I would rather meet somebody organically. I want to meet them in their natural habitat. I want to see who you are. So, for instance, we're both models. If y'all didn't know, we said we're married, but we're both models, and we met on set shooting for Nike. This was a long time ago. We're both models. We were able to kind of, like, she came in, said hi, I said hi, and that was it. But we were kind of able, and we shared the set, but we were kind of able to see each other actions and just who you are without even dating. Like, we were able to see each other, like, who this person is. I think you could tell a lot from those interactions versus an app. That's just my opinion.
I just think that it's very hard to meet people organically
really?
Nowadays. I think that,
that's crazy.
A lot of the millennials, a lot of people that are trying to get their life together, they focus primarily, like, on work. They might not be going out to all of these social engagements all the time to try and meet somebody. And now you're hoping that your person kind of falls out of the air and is, this perfect person that checks everything on your box, that checks all of your boxes, excuse me. I think it's hard. Like, I think dating is hard. I think meeting people is hard, and I think all the apps do is just make it a little bit easier. And if that means you have to go on 20 dates, at least you had 20 dates that were available for you to go on, right? Like, the idea that you might randomly meet 20 people that you would even consider going on a date with, in my opinion, is unrealistic. It is. Like, I don't even think I've dated 20 people before meeting you. No, I haven't, right? So, like, now I'm saying not only did I meet these people, but I went on 20 dates with these people, 20 people that I liked enough to even go on a date. I don't think it's realistic.
But you think you could find somebody in an app?
Yes.
By looking at that thing that you want to go on a date?
Yeah, because if I'm looking at, first of all, if I have the app, right, the first thing I'm going to look for is, am I attracted to him, and how tall is he? Is he cute, and how tall is he? And then once I see those things, okay, he's 6'3" or better. Okay, he's handsome, cool. Okay, is he educated? Does he have a job? What does he do? Like, I might stop and look at some things like, does he like to travel? Does he like animals? Does he have children?
Okay.
Especially because I'm a mom, right? Okay. Like, I might be looking at all of these things from his profile, and some things he might not share, right? Like, he might not share that he is a dad. I might not. To be honest, if I was on the app now, I probably wouldn't share that I was a mom.
I think you should. That's those
yeah,
things that you
I don't know. I know, but I don't
Loving
know.
mother
Loving
of
mother. I don't.
one.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think because the apps are so public, that I'm always in a space of protecting my child. So I don't think me not sharing it. Actually, maybe you're right. Maybe I should put that I was a mom. You're right.
Yeah,
right.
you should. I think that's.
I guess I just wouldn't put a picture of my son.
Oh,
That's a better clarity. I wouldn't put a picture of him. But yeah, I would share that I'm a mom so that they get the full picture. But I think, I don't know. Like I said, I think dating apps work.
I mean, obviously, the numbers say they work.
Yeah.
I don't think. Obviously, I'm married, but
I even think people meet on Instagram. A lot of people meet on Instagram too. Like whether it's dating apps or Instagram, like
yeah.
Snapchat.
It's tough. All right, let's switch. How about shows? Because you like these dating shows.
Okay.
I, for one, think these shows are trash. Sorry, guys. I do. I come home and she watching Love Island or
I watch them all.
Love at First Sight or Love is Blind. First of all, Love is not blind. Love has on bifocals with binoculars. You can see everything.
Binoculars.
Binoculars. Love is not blind. But I pulled that up too as well. It says, even with a long history, the show, only 17% of these relations ended up working out.
That's very low.
Do you find that shocking?
Because I don't think Love is blind.
Okay.
Like I don't think it's
Do
necessary.
you believe in love at first sight?
I don't think it's the idea of the professionals matching people as much as you want to be attracted to the person that you're laying down with. Or that you're
talking about that particular show.
Yeah, like I think the idea that, you're supposed to like just, I don't know, the idea that love is blind and that it doesn't matter what you look like, that's not true. Like you start thinking, what's my kid's gonna look like? Like you start like my nose with his complexion, with those eyes and those lips. What if my kid just looks like you? Like, am I okay with that? Because I had that conversation with some of my girlfriends. One of my girlfriends recently actually just told me.
I think only women think about that though.
No.
Not that. If my son didn't not look like, I don't think we go into having kids thinking that, oh, I hope my son look like me. First of all, if I have a kid with you, I think you're a beautiful woman, and I'm not mine. I don't care if my son look like you or my daughter look like you because I'm okay with that. But I think that's more of a women thing, like, oh, who their child look like, because you guys want the child to look like you guys so bad. Men, not necessarily. Not that we don't want our son to or daughter to resemble us or look like they don't belong to us, like we're not the father. But I don't think anybody's like, if I have a pretty daughter or a handsome kid, like, oh, but he don't look like me.
Yeah.
I think women more have a complex about that. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. Go back to your thought. I messed you up, bro.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I'm thinking about it because I was thinking about what you said. I do think. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. Let's go back here. Let's move on. Let's go into the shows, the dating show. We were talking about dating shows, right? I personally think that, and I know it's TV and you're going to be like, duh, but I really just believe that these producers have no intention of finding love. It's just pure entertainment. I also personally believe, again, I don't know this to be true, that they make bad matches just so they could see the reaction of yes.
I agree with that.
Like,
because I do think every season is kind of like, what was
weird, yeah. What
it's
the hell
a weird
thinking?
connection. Like, why would you put him with her? Like, yeah. I just, like I said, I genuinely think love is not blind. I do think even for the one where it's like love at first sight, it's still the same thing where it's like you don't see the person until after you guys are already engaged. And I don't think it's realistic. I do think it matters. I just think that they're hoping that whoever they pair them with are good-looking people. I think
that's what they hope. They hope it's going to be a show full of models.
Yeah.
And they're going to get lucky and end up with a beautiful man or woman or whatever you want to say. Even like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, right? Even that concept I don't think is natural. When I say natural, because name a setting outside of a TV show
where it's like all these women
where I could date openly 20 women. Y'all all know about each other. Y'all okay with each other. I'm kissing. Y'all know I kiss. We're going on dates. It doesn't work. Women, first of all, are too catty for that. Yeah. Men are too protective for that to happen. So that's another one that I'm like, it's just full of crap. Like, I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's good.
I think the only setting that works in is if you're a major celebrity, a guy where it's like, right now you're Neo or Chris Brown. Chris Brown just openly admitted to dating to having multiple girlfriends on the Kai Cenat, show. He literally just admitted to that. So I think unless you're a major celebrity with a lot of money, I don't think, it's not realistic. I agree with you with The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Yeah, nah. Like I said, I think dating apps work. I don't think, the dating shows necessarily work. And even if they do get married, they don't necessarily stay married. And the fact that only 17% of the relationships work out, it's like, guys, like.
I mean, it's entertainment. That's what you watch it for. But it annoys me. It's one of those things. I come home, I'll sit sometimes and watch it with her, but she knows. I get, not that, it's just like, come on. I guess so.
And it's funny, I feel like the relationships that do work out are the ones where like the people are kind of good looking.
I don't watch it enough to say. I think I watched, like, I forgot which one it was. I watched like a full season with you. So
it's funny because when I was watching the show, I think that for the relationships also that do work out, it's, women and men that are coming on the show are in a very vulnerable place, right?
Okay.
Like if you're even able to say, I don't care what you look like, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life with you, that means you really want to be married, right? Like some people would even call it from a place of being desperate, right? And I think sometimes when you have two people that come together and are in that same space, it's like, I don't care about any of these outside factors. We both want to be married. And that's enough to make it work. I think for the relationships that don't work out, it's because they couldn't get past either their personality, their looks, their finances. There's so many other factors other than I want to be with somebody, or I'm alone, or I don't want to be lonely anymore, right? There's so many other contributing factors to it. But as the facts have shown,
the dating apps
work, the dating shows do not.
All right, cool. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I know y'all like it. She love a good dating show.
I do. I be sincerely entertained.
All right, let's go to our final chronicle for today.
When should finances be introduced into the stages of dating?
I think it's going to be a good one. I think we'll get a lot of reaction out of this one. I'll start. I think it depends on your which phase of life you're in, right? I think, and perception. What I mean by that is this. I think in your early 20s or 19 or 18, you go on a date, and you bring up finances, from a guy perspective, you look like a gold digger.
Wait.
Again, I'm going to run it back. Again. Yeah. Imagine being 19, 21, 22, and a woman asking you about how much you make. Perception is what I'm saying. Now that is true. I think more men are caught off guard by that because they look like, damn, why are you worrying about my money? Why are you in my pockets?
Yeah.
So, but I'm talking about that's in a young phase. You don't know. You're not even thinking about life. You can't think about past next weekend's party. That's what's on your mind, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by a stage in life. I think as men or we get older and this topic comes up, men have a lot of ego. And to be fair, like nowadays, a lot of women make more money than men. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're not making as much as the woman, they feel intimidated by the women. So it brings up this like, don't talk to me about finances.
So when are you saying is a good time to?
Okay, so I'm gonna get to that. That's me. I think this should be done right off bat.
I need it. I need specifics.
So I think I always talk about dating. What are some of the first things we talk about? We should talk about
like in the first month, in the first 6 months, in the first 3 months, like.
I think within the first couple of dates, like 5 dates. I think within the first couple of dates, it's how you present this question, right?
I think it's tricky, right? Because as a woman, right? Like, let's say we're dating, and I think by the way that I carry myself, you might presume that
assume. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
You might assume that I make more than I do, right? And then I think when you kind of get into the depth of it, you then say, well, you're walking around with Chanel, Dior, Prada, and in reality, you only make $60,000 a year or $70,000 a year, which means in actuality, you can't afford none of the things that you're actually wearing, right? And now you get into it and it's like, well, how are you paying for it now, right? And now it's like, oh, my Klarna payments every month, right, are $3,000 a month, right, to afford the things that I like.
So that's my point.
But now you have a perception of me, right? And you're saying, oh, well, you're coming to it thinking that I don't know. I think it's tricky because I feel like for you, like if you were dating me, you might take a step back and say, oh,
me? Like knowing me?
Yeah, because I think you would say, "Oh, well, you know,
like
her
me,
priority,
your
not
husband.
you, not
oh,
you."
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
like, what?
think you're like, you know, but I think the average man would kind of take a step back because you would say she can't afford like the lifestyle she's living.
So that's my point. That's why I feel like you should have this conversation right off top. Because if I'm dating you and we're talking about having a relationship together, I need to know where your head is financially, even planning. It's not necessarily about, oh, how much you make per se. It's like, are you responsible with your money? Like you saying, she only makes this, she having all this stuff and can't afford. So how I expect for you to move in with me, or we build a house, or potentially have a family?
But I feel like it's a double standard because I feel like when I have said that
to whom,
in respect to men, the she's a gold digger. Men
that's
jump
what I'm
out
saying.
I'm telling you,
but that's what I'm saying. But first of all, if you listen to our purest rapper, I don't believe in the term gold digger. I don't think it exists. If you like rich men, go after a rich man. If you like tall men, go after a tall man. If you like buff men, go after a buff man. Less likely that you're pleased with what you like. So go after what you like.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it depends on what phase you're in life. I still think it's bad. It's a double standard. If a woman asks a man that, I think they might be a little thrown back by it.
Yeah, and then if you say, if a woman asks a man, right, let's flip it. Right?
What do you mean if a man asks?
No, let's flip it. If a woman asks a man and he says, okay, I make $60,000 a year or $70,000 a year, and a woman doesn't deem like that's enough to, you know, sustain a household, or, you know, it's not enough to build a life off of, and now she runs, I feel like men are drawn back by that. And it's like, oh, well, if you're after me for my money, we shouldn't be dating. Now, what you just said was the opposite, right? And you said that a man should run.
I think both people should run. That's why we're having that conversation.
But I feel like when a woman says that, the men, everybody on TikTok,
I agree with you.
Okay,
I agree with you
all the men that be in their feelings about everything, y'all come out on top. Okay?
I agree with you 1,000%.
Yes, y'all come out like
their little man egos get hurt.
Yes,
but that's because they're insecure.
Oh, if you can't date me with no money, we shouldn't be dating at all. If I can't afford to, you know, take you on a date, you're after me for my money. You're after me for a free meal. You're after me for all of these things. I'm telling you, the men, they get in their feelings, but you're over there
I agree with
saying
you
that people should run.
But I think that's better than I put up this false thing of my life, and then I can't really do the things that you want. And then we wasted our first 3-6 months, and I'm not what you thought I was.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it's better. So my point, my position in this is that this conversation needs to be had sooner than later.
I think it's tricky.
So what's your timeline? Because we didn't define.
I know.
We haven't defined that yet.
I think it's tricky. My timeline.
Like when did we discuss
I don't think
finances?
We ever really had like the talk of finances. I think
because we were in the same industry and we kind of like.
Yeah, and I think you had your own place. You know, he didn't have a car when I met him, but that's because he didn't think you should drive in New York.
I'm from Miami. I had a car in Miami. I came to New York. I didn't think you need a car, but now we drive everywhere. But yeah.
And I was like, I'm not taking a train. I drive everywhere. And I've always had a car. So, but in terms of timeline.
Like dating, like it should be. You say you should get in a relationship before y'all talk finances.
I think we should talk finances before we get in a relationship.
Before you get in a relationship.
So let's say maximum 6 months. So let's say I've been dating you for 6 months, right? Let's say we're in 6 months of courting. Let's say that's not that long. Let's say we started dating.
Long.
But let's say we started dating in the summertime.
Okay.
And now it's holidays.
Okay.
Right? And now it's holidays. That's 6 months right there.
Yeah,
July.
when you gotta buy gifts, Christmas.
Right, but now it's holidays, right? Because that's enough time to be dating.
Okay.
You know,
and then you bring finances.
And now we're thinking about, okay, starting the new year together, being in a relationship together. You know, we kiss each other on New Year's Eve, right? So we're having this conversation about, where we stand, and we're also talking older, not teenagers, right? Like I think when you're teenagers or even early 20s, most times neither one of us has money, right? But I think when you're an adult and you're a lot older, I think the moment that you're considering getting in a relationship is the moment that we should talk about finances. Because like you said, if the idea is we're dating to marry, and now it's like, okay, what does that look like, right? Like, are you able to sustain the rent, right? Like, are you able to sustain the mortgage? Are you able to pay the car note? Are you able to sustain the health insurance? I do think that these are conversations that should be had, or even just we should talk about what we are both okay with. And when I say that, are we okay with going 50-50, right? Are we not okay with going 50-50? If we get in a relationship, do I expect you to pay the mortgage? Do I expect for you to pay the car note? Do you have your own car, right? Would I continue to pay for my car and you pay for your car and now you're covering the mortgage? Like, what is it? What does that shift look like, right? Like, what's the plan? Are you moving in with me? Are we getting a new place together? Like, I do think the moment that we consider getting in a relationship, all of those things should be discussed, because I do think you shouldn't be taking that jump and then there's all of these surprises, right? Like, he's now living in your house and it's like, who's going to pay the mortgage? Like,
we're saying the same thing. Our timelines are just different.
Yeah.
You're saying 6 months of dating and then have this conversation. Now, when we have this conversation, you figure out I can't do all these things for you. What happens?
Because I think...
What happens then?
I think it's more so, I think a lot of time with women and even men, I think more so on the women's side, I think it's about asking yourself, are you willing to build with the person, right? I think after 6 months of dating them...
But even that is a conversation that should be
had. It is, but
so
I think I don't know after 5 dates, if you've shown me enough of you. We could go on 5 dates this week. And I don't know after a week of dating you if I'm really in a place to know whether I'm willing to fight for you in that capacity. And when I say that, it's more so from a space of, I think after 6 months, I would have hoped to see a level of range, right? The good, the bad, a little bit of in between. 6 months gives me a little bit more time to see you, I think, right? And so if I'm considering being in a relationship with you after 6 months, right? And now we're having a conversation and you reveal to me, hey, I'm not in the actual financial place that you thought I was in. You may have shown me 6 months of being an amazing person, great qualities, where I was like, okay, well, how can we build to a place of getting you to where I want us to be financially, right? Because at that point, it's an us conversation, not just a you conversation. I don't think before the 6 months, in my opinion, you may have shown me enough to actually say, you know what, there's enough growth potential here, right? I don't think after 5 dates, like I said, we could go on 5 dates this week. We could go on 5 dates in 2 weeks.
I have to afford to pay you in 5 days in 1 week.
Right. Like, but sometimes after 6 months, people get funny. Like, so, they can. Like, 6 months, you may have done something. Like one of my friends, she went on a date with a guy, and he couldn't. You're a successful trainer, but like, he was a trainer, not doing that well. He didn't have the money, so he let her eat, and he didn't eat. That's embarrassing, right? Like, and that's an awkward conversation. But imagine you like somebody enough that you take them on a date, but you realize, hey, I can only afford to pay for you to eat. So imagine sitting at the dinner table and you not eating. It's so awkward.
You want to know what date number that was?
No,
if we go out on a date,
like, she went on a couple dates with him. This wasn't the first date.
I know, but you could figure out in a couple dates,
right? 100%. But first, and it never even got to the point of.
I know, because I know that's my point. Anyway,
but I'm just saying, imagine, right? That situation happened. You're right; it did happen early on. But I would think after 6 months, you've shown me enough of you to say, okay, and at that point of 6 months, if we're considering being in a relationship, we're having conversations about finances, all of these things, we would even be at that point having a conversation about our life plan. And maybe we've had that conversation before 6 months, like, what are your goals? Like, what are you working towards, right? Hopefully it didn't take 6 months to get there. But I do think at 6 months, if you were to reveal to me, hey, I'm not in this certain financial place, okay, what's the plan? How can we work together to get there? Like, and I think if I like you enough after 6 months to consider being in a relationship, there's a little bit of grace, I think. Instead of me walking away
I respect it.
earlier.
No, I respect what you're saying is not bad. I think it's a great mindset to have.
Because not
I
everybody
just
is going
don't
to
share.
come to the table
I just
as
don't share
fully
that same.
equipped.
I just don't share that same
Yeah.
mindset.
But I think you're saying a woman should just walk away, right?
I think anybody, if you guys do not match each other's plans,
Yeah. You're saying
walk away
financial
now.
plans.
Yes, but
But,
all
you know,
that
with-
will be talked about, like you said. What's your goals in life?
Right.
All that will come up naturally, I think. I think it will come up naturally.
I just want to point out that this is a huge double standard. And for people that are watching, because like I said, if a woman says this, even with Lisa Raye, right?
Well, we're gonna go into it.
Right,
That's our tea.
That's our tea,
so we could transition.
right?
Let's transition there.
Yeah.
So we took our stance. I believe that this should be done earlier in the dating steps.
And he's saying walk away. He's saying walk away from the relationship if the person doesn't meet your financial expectations.
I'm very straightforward. I don't beat around the bush. I'm gonna be like, it sounds bad how you're saying it. How y'all wording it? How y'all wording it sounds bad.
I think you have to be straightforward because, like I said, if I sat here and said that, the entire TikTok would be in uproar against me. Oh, she's a gold digger. Like she's only after a man for a free meal. Oh, like a date should be free. We could pull up the TikToks. Okay, like I think if a woman is that straightforward, like men are in uproar. They are. You understand? But for you to sit and say that, you're like, you know what? You guys are not equally yoked. You won't meet her expectations and vice versa. You should just call it quits. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, as somebody, we've built a lot together, right? Like in the time that we have been together, we have built a lot together. And so as somebody that's been in that position, I think sometimes there is a lot of growth potential in teamwork.
Yes. But the difference in that situation is that we were somewhat equal where we were in life.
Yeah.
So our potential to grow together was there. That's fine. Like, I think it worked for us, like the same conversation you're saying. But if, like, we're going to go into our hot tea of the subject, if you are not, it's not about you being financially where I'm at. If you're not at the same level of my lifestyle, it's impossible for me to ask you to do these things for me because I'm just not able to.
So essentially, he's bringing us to our last topic.
Our new segment.
Yes, the tea is hot.
Okay, and what is it?
Which is where we're talking about Lisa Raye, right? Lisa Raye recently did an interview where she talked about how she only dates rich, powerful, and wealthy men. He essentially is agreeing with her. And a lot of the world, the internet, had a lot to say about her perspective on such.
And what was her perspective?
She just said that she only likes to date rich, powerful, and wealthy men. Because she feels as though it would be unfair to them for her to have a certain expectation of them that they're unable to meet.
And I agree with her 1,000%. Same. I'm always going to be 360. If you like people with money, like I said before, go after a guy with money. She's built a life and a lifestyle for herself that she wants, not that she have to, but she wants to maintain.
Yeah. And I think it's different because she's able to do these things for herself. I think the issue that people have is having these expectations
when they can't even do it
when they can't even do it for themselves. I think that's a lot of times where the drawback kind of happens. But I think the good thing about Lisa Raye is, she's had a successful career. She's done all these amazing things for herself. Well, she's able to provide a certain life for herself and a lifestyle that she wants to share with her partner, right? Like she said, I can't expect you to take me to a certain restaurant and you can't cover the bill. And now I'm looking at you sideways. It's not going to work.
That's why I said go after for what you go after. How do you feel about that? Because you say I agree with her. So you disagree with her? That's what you're saying?
I don't. It's not that I disagree. I do agree with her as well. I think the way she said it, right?
People just hear rich, powerful men and they get sensitive in their skin. I know exactly what she's saying.
I think I understand both perspectives, right? I do think that sometimes, first of all, I agree with her, right? Like, if that's what she wants, go after what you want. Like, the worst thing that you can do is lie to yourself about what you want. I do think sometimes, though, that there are some women that when they do have so much on their own, sometimes they just want companionship, right? And I'm not saying...
I don't think that's what she wants.
Right. I'm not saying
I think she wants to be spoiled.
Right. And I'm not saying, like, go get a bum. But sometimes when you are so self-sufficient, it's like I can do all these things for myself, right? Sometimes you just want like a good guy, a good person that like, you know, maybe he's not a multimillionaire, but maybe he's a millionaire. Maybe he does well for himself. Who knows? And I'm not saying that, but, you know, I think I've saw interviews with like Tia Mowry, like she's going through a divorce, or even Keke Palmer just did an interview and she talked about how she's okay with going 50-50. And I think sometimes for them, what I hear is I can do all these things already. I have my own money. I have my own career. You know, Tia Mowry, she has amazing kids. She has the house. She has all of these things, you know, but what she really desires is companionship. And sometimes, you know, that's enough, you know, and it doesn't have to be, and I'm not, like I said, I understand both perspectives. I do.
Again, I just think that the media was on uproar because she used the terms verbiage, rich, wealthy, powerful, successful. I think if she changed the way she said it, I don't think she had to, but I think if it came off like, I just want a man that could maintain the lifestyle that I've been for myself and created for myself.
I think
people would have been more
they
like,
but that's it differently.
That's what she's saying. It has nothing. People are just sensitive.
Yeah,
this whole world is just sensitive. How people say no, just say. I understood what you're saying. I want a man that can maintain and help me build more on the lifestyle that I've already created for myself. I don't want to go back. Simple.
I will say that.
Simple.
I do think that as somebody that is married, like, I do want to be with someone that's going to make my life easier. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think, like, that helps you stay married, too. Like, you know what? My partner, he makes my life so much easier. But that's all today, people. Like, that was our last chronicle. As I like, the tea was hot. Thanks, guys, for watching this episode of Couples Chronicles with
your boy, Lloyd.
And Afiya. We don't always agree, but the love is always there. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Peace. That's it.